Tucker Hope has more at the Recon Wall.
Thank you very much, Brooke. The federal dating agency drastically readjusted national dating standards to a record low this week. The agency said the major reduction in the minimum basic attributes required in a romantic partner will offset rising levels of desperation and get the dating sector moving again.
If we maintain the current standards, there would be just too many undateable people in this country. Things are pretty bleak out there, I admit it. But this should get some of the real dogs paired off with the biggest slugs. And then we'll be able to adjust standards upwards again.
The reduction in dating standards has already led many Americans to put themselves on the market again.
Now that deadbeats and cheaters and abusive alcoholics are within the federally approved range, options have basically tripled.
It's absolutely great. I no longer have to worry about staying in shape or shaving my neck hair or anything. I guess it's time to give my ex another call. According to the government, she's no longer too good for me.
The adjustment marks the largest slashing of dating standards since the smallpox epidemic of 1839, when survivors' grotesquely pockmarked faces forced the criteria for romantic coupling to an all-time low. According to agency officials, the only segment of the population not affected by recent dating woes are the mega hot, who continue to have amazingly satisfying sex with one another anytime they please. Brooke.
Thank you, Tucker. You know, Tucker was just chosen to co-host the Teen Choice Awards with Jaden Smith.
Yep, it should be a lot of fun. I'm really honored to have been chosen.
Yeah, why were you chosen exactly, Tucker? You didn't even go to high school. I mean, you were homeschooled, right?
Well, it must have been all my
Tucker.
work.
Well, you may remember last month. Okay, let's check in now with Tucker Hope over at the Recon Wall with today's Daily Briefing. Well, Tucker, it's been kind of a banner week for you, hasn't it? In addition to this gig as the host of the Teen Choice Awards, you've also been named Teen People's Cutest Guy Alive.
You don't have
which
to.
I find kind of interesting since I've never thought of you as much of a ladies' man.
Well, that's because I'm very faithful to Jody.
Yeah, I've never met this Jody of yours.
Well, she's very busy teaching yoga all around the world. Okay, first up, Conair Electronics Corporation issued a massive recall earlier this week of a popular model of wand massager after company leaders were mortified to learn that people were using the device for things other than its intended purpose.
How could anybody think to use it for that? Jesus, you just can't put it anywhere. It hasn't been tested yet. It's supposed to be a nice gift for your grandmother.
The company hurriedly released a new model of massager that they say they hope people will be unable to use for that sort of thing. Though Conair issued a stern warning to consumers saying, quote, no bunching it up. And Congress today passed a new labor law allowing employees up to 6 minutes a day to weep quietly in a stairwell. The AFL-CIO said about the bill, gone are the days when American workers had to sneak into the employee's bathroom to cry or sit in their cubicles blinking back the tears. This new law will allow workers to retreat with dignity to a stairwell for an uncontrollable sob before returning to finish the jobs they hate. Employees will also have the option of saving their 6 minutes of crying a day and using it for a half-hour meltdown at the end of the week if they so choose. Next up, Vice President Joe Biden finally reveals his much-anticipated Vice President uniform. These photos that I'm bringing up here were released at a press conference today, along with a statement explaining the uniform, which Biden designed himself, will give the Vice President a more iconic style and will look pretty slick when I'm stepping out of a helicopter. You should see it when this fringe really gets flying. The Vice President told reporters that the uniform was a key point in his Lookin' Sharp initiative. Brooke.
Thanks, Tucker. You know, during the break, I had my assistant pull together a little list of the events that I've hosted. The Frankton Awards, the Emerging Innovation Conference, the Women Awards. Well, I couldn't, but there are several pages.
That's really impressive, Brooke.
It is. Okay, the Onion News Network's own Shelby. Now let's go over to Tucker Hope for a look at what happened on this day in history.
Now here's something you certainly don't hear every day. And that's because it was on this date in 1929 that fashion designers finally figured out how to eliminate the embarrassing slide whistle sound made when trousers would fall down around a man's ankles. For centuries, the history of pants had been inextricably linked with the sound of slide whistles. Historian Bruce Thompson says by the early 1920s, many had come to believe slacks simply could not be manufactured without the accompanying sound effect.
Menswear scientists had hit a wall. They had become national heroes after silencing the bow tie. But men's slacks remained a sonic mystery.
It was not until the early 1950s that the true culprit behind these slide whistles was discovered. Marxist revolutionaries who wanted to humiliate Americans. The communists would hide behind tables and behind bushes with a whistle, waiting for someone's pants to fall. All Americans had to do was rid the population of commie sympathizers in a series of violent raids, and the whistling was gone forever. And that's this day in history.
Thanks, Tucker. Well, we need...
On the next Onion News Network.
President Obama has warned the American people not to embarrass him when his European friends come to visit this weekend.
Don't talk to the French about how you went to Paris when you were in college because they won't care.
The Onion News Network, next Friday at 10, only on IFC.